what can I do now? Like, I have this time that I'm not doing anything. I'm sitting here staring at the ceiling. I'm not going to look at my social media stuff. What can I do instead? It's Just the Clip. I'm Randy.
What's up?
I'm here with Jared. What's going on, man?
Just got back from the gym with Chris and had a great workout. And yeah, now I'm just chilling.
All right. Hell yeah,
What about
brother. All right, so for today, we want to talk to you a little bit about something that I'm pretty sure at this point all of us on the podcast here have been doing. I know it's something Jared started within the last few months, and I know it's something that Chris started recently, and something that I myself have been doing for a while, and that is disconnecting from social media and kind of like how we did it and why we did it and just kind of like the pros and cons of it. So, Jared, you want to kick us off a little bit here?
Yeah. This has been something that I've been doing for probably over a year. I started off with little things just to stay off Facebook and stuff.
Yeah.
But actually earlier this year, I went on a 3-week fast. Do you want me to talk about that? Or?
Yeah, you can go into that. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Sorry. So in January, I went on a 3-week fast from social media.
Among the lessons learned, guys, it was known as the hiatus.
The hiatus. Yeah, they changed all the group chats to Jared's on hiatus.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that meant not just social media like that you think about. You think about Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all those main big platforms. But I also took a hiatus from Snapchat as well because, you can be on Snapchat for a long time as well, just like looking at everyone's stories, and then now they have the new stories features below that. So you can spend a lot of time doing that too. So this was, no social media, which means no YouTube, no Snapchat, no Instagram, Facebook. I even cut out a lot of streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, Disney Plus, all of those. Like, I wasn't watching TV. And what else? I think those were the big things, like social media wise.
Yeah.
And dude, that was rough.
Yeah.
It was difficult.
But I think on the same token of that being rough, which I could see where that could be rough, and that's what I'll kind of get into a little bit, and the transition from it being rough to being normal.
Yeah.
My thing was like, how do you feel like that improved things for you? Like, what aspects of your life kind of were improved by not using these things so much?
Every aspect of my life, really. So it was really tough, probably on like day 3. I was just at one point, I remember sitting in this chair and just leaning back and staring at the ceiling. Like I literally had nothing to do. So I was like just staring at the ceiling, wondering what I was doing with my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're going to get to that point, because what happened was I realized how much time I was spending on social media and how much time I was spending watching shows on Netflix and how much time I was spending just scrolling.
Just time wasted is essentially what it is. It really is.
Yeah. Time wasted. But yeah, it improved almost every part of my life. I mean, I can't think of one thing it didn't improve on. I actually connected with people better because I was, I was still like video chatting with some people and just calling and texting people. Like, I didn't really count that as social media.
I wouldn't, because that's like interaction. And especially with, all the COVID stuff going on, there's a lot of people who don't want to be like in close contact with you. So
yeah. And like texting your friends and calling people like bolsters relationships. So I didn't see that as, mindless or
yeah, for sure,
anything worth cutting out. it also gave me more time for the things that I do like that I usually numb out to, because at the end of the day, when you're tired, you like to numb out to whatever. You just grab your bag of chips, your pizza or whatever, and turn on the show and just veg out. And
Yeah. I'm guilty of that one.
I am too.
Yeah.
It's difficult. Yeah, so that helped me start to read more. So I started to read a lot, and that's something that I've been wanting to catch up on. So
Good.
that was great. It also gave me time to focus on my health, so like eating right and working out and sleeping right. So that was good. And yeah, it helped me realize where all my time is wasted.
Yeah.
And that's, the moment where I was staring at the ceiling, I was realizing I waste a lot of my time. So like once I got past that point, like I was feeling really down.
Well, I'm sure you were able to, like, I think that was great because then you were able to ask yourself, like, what can I do? I'm not going to look at my social media stuff. What can I do instead? So I think that's where a lot of, like you said, the reading comes in, and, doing more to meal prep and diet, and doing more at the gym and all that kind of stuff. Like, you find that when you're not sitting on the phone for hours at a time, you have time for the things that you thought you didn't have time for. And I noticed, like, for myself personally, when I kind of, like, Facebook was the big one. I still use my Instagram a decent amount. I use YouTube all the time, but Facebook was the one that I really wanted to cut out. And it's funny how, like, Chris talked about this a little bit too, and it was something he was doing in our group chat when he, what did he do? Instagram, I think he removed from his home screen.
Yeah.
And how many times he, like, arbitrarily just tried to click in. And that was one thing. So when I decided that I didn't want to, like, really be on Facebook anymore, my decision came from the fact that it's really such a toxic environment.
Yeah, it really is.
There's so much negativity, and there's so much arguing and fighting, and every article is like why this person's terrible or why this group is terrible, or and it's just I got to a point where I didn't want to be around that anymore. But it was funny because I noticed the same thing that Chris noticed, where like you become conditioned to click into that spot. And like there were times where I mean, I didn't delete Facebook off my home screen right away. I just kind of used like almost more like self-control of like not going into it. But there were times where I would do that and I would click into it just for no reason. And then I would realize as the screen loaded. Now, luckily, my phone's kind of a piece of crap and is slow. And it would give me a second to realize, like, wait, I don't want to go on this. And then I would just back out of it. But it got to the point where you get past that point where you stop just arbitrarily clicking, but you start to realize it, where you're like, wow, I'm just like, I just sat down on the couch here and I pulled out my phone and automatically went to Facebook or automatically went to Instagram,
yeah, it's like
or
you
whatever.
open up your phone and you have that muscle memory, and you just, that's your routine. You open up your phone and you click on Instagram. Yeah. So doing that little trick helps a lot.
Yeah. And it's funny.
What's that?
It's funny too, because now I notice there's like, I use my phone so much less now, because now there's times where like I realize, like, I open my phone and I'm like, it's not, so it kind of like translates, like it grows exponentially how this works, because you start with like Facebook, and like then I stopped using my Instagram as much, and I stopped using other stuff as much, and now I'm actually at the point where sometimes I open my phone and I'm like, why did I open my phone right now? Like, there was no reason for me to open my phone right now. There's no notifications. There's no reason for me to go on this right now. And I gotta say, from like a happiness perspective, and we just did an episode on happiness, and kind of like being content, not making content. We talked a little bit about like what you have to do to kind of like become happy. And I actually think this is one of the things, like, I think you need to look at a lot of the negative aspects in your life. And I think that was a big one. And I can tell you, like, my personal negativity and my outlook changed when I stopped using my social media as much.
Yeah. And that can have like, on day 3 when I was staring at the ceiling, it can have sort of like a negative effect on your life temporarily at first, or it
Yeah.
can seem like it, because normally when you have an issue and you resort to watching a show or getting on social media, you just numb yourself out to the problem.
Yeah.
And then when you cut everything out, when you cut all those distractions out, you can't be numb to it. You have to
You have
stand
to
there
deal
and
with it.
stare at this beast in the face,
Yep.
and that's difficult. But yeah, once you condition yourself to not just mindlessly go on social media, not just mindlessly go down a YouTube rabbit hole,
Yeah.
then
Oh, I do it all the time.
then yeah, you can, like, you kind of muster up this courage to actually take on whatever challenge is in your life right now.
Yeah.
So it's really a great thing. And after day 3, I did it for 21 days, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like just a hardcore fast. I did it for 21 days. Also, no video games, by the way. Video games count.
Ooh.
So no video games.
No duty.
Yeah. After that 3rd day, I noticed that I was a lot happier. And it's not necessarily because I wasn't on social media and I wasn't viewing all this negative content, especially, the negative stuff that people like to post on Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah.
But more so just because I was actually starting to get in a habit of, I know it takes, 30 days or whatever to form a habit, or 27 days. But no, I started to form this habit because I had so much extra time that's all I was thinking about, really, was,
Right.
hey, what can I do instead of the normal thing that I do, which was, instead of getting on YouTube, I would open a book.
Yeah. You can do so many things that are so much more productive.
Yeah. Yeah, you really can.
And that was one of the things that I noticed, because a lot of this started for me. A lot of this started for me like right at the beginning of when like everything kind of went into quarantine. So like about a year ago for me as well. And that was the thing I noticed. I was just like, I was so fed up with the nonsense and the negativity on social media that I was just like, I don't want any part of it anymore. And when I backed away from that, I found that I had so much more time to do things. Like I was working out in my shop more. I was finding ways, gyms weren't open, so I was finding ways to exercise. Like I was doing things that I wouldn't have normally been doing because I would have been sitting there scrolling through, some app.
Yeah. So we've talked about the little tricks that you can do to kind of help eliminate social media and just things that waste your time, movies and TV shows. So we talked about the little things like deleting apps from your home screen. But I feel like there's more to it. So one of the biggest things that I did, instead of, just taking those things off my home screen, is I thought of something that was bigger than myself. So think of a goal, like a main reason why you're doing this, that is more powerful than how you're going to feel in the middle of it. Because, if you factor in how you're going to feel, cutting out all these things that kind of make you numb, that are time wasters, you're going to feel pretty bad temporarily. So you have to have a goal that is larger than that. And mine was actually spiritual, because it was a spiritual fast, and it was cutting out things that took my attention away from God.
Okay.
So that's, it's hard to think of anything more powerful than that when it comes to cutting things out,
Right.
And doing something that's very difficult. But yeah, if it's like you just want to read more.
Yeah, so your goal could be anything. Like yours was a more spiritual goal, whereas mine was like a mental health goal.
Yeah.
Where I wanted to get to a better mental health state, and I thought that was kind of at the center of the problem in that area. But like you said, it could be anything. It could be reading books. It could be going to the gym more. It could be learning a new skill. Like it really could be anything. But I think this is something that everyone should do at some point, even if they don't do it permanently. I think what people will find is if you say, I'm gonna take 2 weeks and do like a social media fast. I think what you'll find is you'll continue it.
I don't even think it's going to be that much. So if we were to suggest to whoever's watching this right now to do a fast, I would say do 3 days.
Yeah.
Like just do 3 days of a hardcore fast. So cut out, just cut out pretty much everything we talked about. Or like if you already know there are some time wasters in your life, then cut those out. So you got social media, you got TV shows, you have, I don't know what else. What else?
I mean, those are the two biggest ones. Video games, I guess you could throw in there too.
Yeah, video games. Cut out video games too.
Yeah.
Which that counts, like the little games on your phone, those count. So video games, TV shows, and social media. Cut those out completely for 3 days. And one thing you're going to realize is how much time you waste. You're going to realize how much time you spend just numbing out to life. And at that point, then you can think of, well, how much more time do I have throughout the day if I cut these things out? And how much more could I do throughout my day, like productive things? And then you could kind of set your overarching goal from there.
Yeah.
But I would suggest try 3 days. Just try 3 days of this.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, 3 days, 1 week, 2 week, 1 month, 1 year. I think whatever you do, I think you'll find you'll be less inclined to go back. Yeah. I think you're gonna realize how much better you feel. I think you're gonna realize like how much better things you can do with your time, and I don't think you're gonna be as inclined to go back to just the arbitrary scrolling and watching videos and whatever. I think you're gonna find that there's other things that are better.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, realize how much time you're gonna save by not doing these things, and how much more productive you could be, and then kind of like do some math on it and say, okay, I'm just gonna say, you waste an hour a day, which some of us, it's more like 3 hours.
We've done this. Go on your phone.
6 hours.
Go on your phone. Yeah. It has a log of like how much screen time you spend and like what amounts of time you spend on what apps. Go look at it, because you might surprise yourself. You might be like, holy shit, I spend 3 hours a day on Facebook. That's insane.
Yeah, exactly. And if you waste an hour a day, which we all know it's going to be a lot more than an hour, but just to keep it simple, you waste an hour a day. That's 7 hours a week. That's 30 hours a month, depending on the month. And that's 365 hours a year.
Like, a lot of time.
Just think of one activity that you want to improve on, that you want to spend more time doing, like reading. How many books could I read with 365 hours?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
it's crazy. And just kind of like final point I would like to make, and ask something of you guys as well who are listening. I found my biggest negative, and I don't even really view it as that much of a negative, to tell you the truth. My biggest negative to all of this was I feel like I am a little bit out of tune with some of the things that are going on, because you watch the news and whatnot, but like everything hits Facebook real quick, everything hits Instagram real quick. So a lot of times I find I'm kind of behind on trends, or somebody's like, oh, did you see this happened, or did you see this person died, or did you see they did this? And it's like, no, I didn't see it. But honestly, here's the thing. So many people are going to talk about that kind of stuff that if something is said that really like concerns you or that you want to take issue with, then you can do your own research and find out. You don't need to find out immediately when something happens, especially when it's something big, like it's not going anywhere. So what I want to ask of all of you who are listening is try this out. Try it for a couple days and reach out to us and let us know kind of what you thought, how you felt about it. Did you think it was a good thing? Did you think it was a bad thing? What did you do? What did you do with that extra hour a day you gained?
Yeah, keep a journal. So have a journal ready and have day 1, day 2, day 3. And just write a journal on how you feel, what you did, and then let us know.
Cool. We'd love to hear from you. So let us know. Follow all our stuffs. Check us out on YouTube. If you're watching this, you're checking us out on YouTube already. So that's a little bit redundant. But tell your friends. I'm looking at the camera. You tell your friends.
Speaking of books, by the way,
Oh,
we have an Audible link, right?
we do.
Yeah, check out our Audible link. It'll be linked in the description below. And what will they get if they use that?
I believe you get a
percentage off?
30-day free trial to Audible.
Ooh, 30 days free.
30
Try it
days.
out.
30 days.
While
Hey, there's your hour a day
Yeah,
for 30 days. Boom.
perfect way to spend that time. Let us know what you listen to on Audible.
Heck yeah. It's been just the clip.
See ya.
See ya.